Hey there, readers, writers, and friends. Story Serpent here, and today we are doing our Summer Reading Roundup Middle Grade Edition. But before we get into all of that, today's random words are like, share, subscribe, heliotrope. No idea why I picked that one. It's literally the most random word we've had. To kick us off, you'll remember from last week we talked about Final Word, the first in the Winterton Deception Mysteries by Janet Sumner Johnson. Well, if you're gonna read that, it makes total sense that you would spend some time with her inspiration. If you have not yet read The Westing Game, if your kids have not yet read The Westing Game, I highly recommend giving this one a go. Look how tiny it is. It will go by in a breeze, but it is so tightly written. It is packed with all of the things you expect from a good mystery: suspense, clues, red herrings, the works. It's absolutely worth the read. There's a reason it's an award winner. Next, if you can find them, I know they're a little tricky, but anything by John Bellairs. His Anthony Monday mysteries are absolutely delightful. I first got started with Mansion in the Mist in 5th grade, and therefore it has a very special place in my heart. They are a little on the dark side, they are sinister, they are creepy, and they are a good time. So if you're looking for some mysteries for your kids, anything by John Bellairs. Where'd it go? Next, if your kids are more the high adventure types, The True Confessions of Charlotte Doyle by Avi is one of my personal favorites. Again, I think I read this one in about 5th or 6th grade. And if you are looking for the girl boss done right, this is it right here. Charlotte is a very typical girl. She's very naive about the world. She's not strong at first. She goes through a lot of struggles to prove that she can do the things she needs to do to survive what ends up being a deadly adventure. So if you want your girls to realize the chances of them actually surviving high adventure aren't great if they're weak, this is a good one. I think making your choices in the face of what society tells you to, doing what's right when it's hard, Charlotte Doyle for sure. If you've got boys that like high adventure and a little bit of magic, Ranger's Apprentice series is a great one to start with. And if you've got readers who just crank through books faster than you can, hand them to them, this series has, I think, over 13 books at this point. I did not double check, but it's definitely got over 10 books in the series. So it will keep your kids occupied for quite some time. It's a lot of fun. My dad actually is the one who introduced me to this. So if you're looking for a read aloud that you as an adult might also enjoy, this one will not leave you bored to tears. Okay, maybe your readers are more into magic. Well, in that case, then you should be reading Magic with a Y, the Septimus Heap series. This is another complete series that is many books long, and these suckers are hefty, but they're well written. You might, if you've got a kid who struggles to read, these are great ones to do audiobook on while they read along. And again, hours of occupation that way. But the writing is the real charm. Like, her sentence structure is so much fun. It's just delightful to read through the way she describes the world. And Septimus is a super interesting character to follow along with. He's got a very unique perspective on his very magical world. So, Septimus Heap by Angie Sage. Okay. I am 110% biased on the next one. J. Scott Savage has been writing smart middle grade fantasy for a very long time, and he does it very, very well. The Far World series, again, complete series, 4 books. And they only get bigger. So if you're looking for one that your kids are going to really enjoy and give a spectacular perspective on what it's really like to be disabled and what disabled even means, how we get hamstrung by our own perceptions, and how we can triumph in the face of adversity. It's a really great series. You will love both of the main characters. Again, they each bring really unique perspective. Loved the Far World series. Mysteries of Cove. This is another complete series. Fire of Inventions. Mechanical dragons plus real dragons. If you've got a 10-year-old boy who does not like to read, give him Mysteries of Cove. I think this is a great gateway book, shall we call it, into reading for those kids who struggle. This book is so much fun. And again, complete series. They will love it. J. Scott Savage. Okay, we want something a little more classical. Fine. Pick up Roald Dahl. Make sure, though, that you are getting old copies. Do not get any of the new reprints that are coming out of the UK, where they have modified his language. Don't do Roald Dahl the disservice of handing your money to the people who are messing with his work. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, and I couldn't find our copy of Matilda, which is my personal favorite. Whoever borrowed it from me, give it back. Read your Roald Dahl. If you're looking for something a little more poetic, something a little more classic lit, if you want to get your kids into poetry, the place you do it is with Shel Silverstein. A Light in the Attic, Falling Up, everything on it, and of course, the classic of classics, Where the Sidewalk Ends. Now, these are hilarious, and I should warn you, if your middle grade readers get really into these, you're going to be listening to your kids rereading and reciting these all summer. But it's better than Taylor Swift lyrics. Shel Silverstein, give them to your kids. If you're looking for something a little heftier, you want to give your kids some substance this summer, you want to help them understand why From the River to the Sea is not the summer slogan of the year. Well, remember Max and the House of Spies? If that's one you started with, but you want something a little more serious, of course, you've got to do Number the Stars. I also recommend The Upstairs Room. These are both fantastic historical fictions that really dig deep into what life was like under Nazi rule and come at this from both the perspective of Jews and non-Jews. I also recommend, if you're looking for a nonfiction, The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom. We turned our household upside down trying to find this book because I reread that sucker every couple of years. It is the extraordinary true story of a Dutch woman and her family who hid Jews during the Nazi invasion and occupation of the Netherlands, and her story of surviving a concentration camp when, by all rights, she absolutely should not have. The miracles that appeared in her life are incredible. If you are looking to give your kids a real perspective on what it means to do right in the face of evil, The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom is excellent. And whoever borrowed it from me, give it back. Finally, sticking with some nonfiction, the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin is not that big. It won't take you all that long. And the stories he tells about himself are incredibly charming. His, view of himself is probably a little biased. Obviously, it's a good place to talk about bias and how we see ourselves. But it's a wonderful view into the life, the coming of age, the goings on of a founding father from his own perspective, in his own words. And again, you can't beat the size on that one. It's not going to drown your kid. So for those readers, 8 to 12, that's what we've got. That's our summer reading roundup, middle grade edition for 2024. That's all I've got for today. If you've got summer recommendations, put them in the comments. Till we meet again, read on, write on, stay sharp.